Hey guys, this is WalterFootball.com After Dark Show for June 16th, 2024. Well, first of all, happy Father's Day to everyone in 13 minutes East Coast time. But yeah, we're going to talk about a few things today. The Tee Higgins contract. Higgins just signed his 1-year deal after being franchised. Going to get into U.S. Open Day 4, the NBA Finals, and going to reveal some new T-shirts that we have on the merch store. So please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description to this merch store, which I just talked about, and we have a bunch of shirts here. We have the classic jerks of the week, Brandon Sucks, like a bunch of old shirts like Cole's Body, Cole's Choice. We have some new ones too. Pedo Pete, for example. We have November is Gluttony Month. True on to Shabbat of Pressure. The Bucker was right. Aprons. Thanks, Chris, for that recommendation. Money Laundering. And we have 2 new shirts. This is via ChatGPT. March is Greed Month here, chosen after the Nancy Pelosi. Her birthday is in March, and I don't think there's anyone greedier on this planet than Nancy Pelosi, who makes like $200 million. She made like $200 million on NVIDIA calls or something. There's a classic quote. It's from ancient Greece. It goes like, a society grows great when old men plant trees in whose shade they will never sit. And then meanwhile in Washington, you have not just the Democrats, you have Republicans too, mostly Democrats. They extract wealth from future generations just to enrich themselves. It's like the complete opposite of that. And Nancy Pelosi epitomizes that. So we have March's Greed Month here, so you can buy this shirt. It was just available like within a few hours ago, so I'm excited for this one. Also, we have September's Lust Month. I didn't know which month to make Lust Month, but people are saying that like, oh, college kids go off to school in September. The most babies are born in September. So here it is. So my original goal for Lust Month is to have Joe Biden here stare at a silhouette of a girl in the shower. obviously Ashley, just based on her own accounts. ChatGPT would not let me do that at all. I tried in so many ways to ask it. Like I've even like hinted around it. ChatGPT even recommended, it's like, what about if I have a girl in sprinklers in the backyard? I'm like, okay, try that. And then I was like, no, this is a violation. And I'm like, wait, but you just recommended that to me. So I had a lot of issues trying to get it to do what I wanted to do. I mean, this is the best I could do. Is you have Joe eating his beloved ice cream here with a sign that says Ashley Showers. There's another sign that says Playground, and then there's a third sign to his right in orange. It is complete nonsense. That's what ChatGPT tends to do. And I thought I was like, I should get rid of that, but then I realized like this is the sort of nonsense he says. Like true or non to Shabbat of Pressure, bad at Cath Care, next style Rescent, all these things. My favorite quote was, "You can describe America in one word." I feel like that tracks with Biden. So September is Lust Month. So I still need to do Wrath Month. I still need to do Envy Month. I know what I'm doing for Envy. It's an obvious one. And then what's the Gluttony? Gluttony is the last one. So we have 3 shirts here. We have the 3 I need to do, and obviously the Pride. So that's the 7 deadly sins there. So you can get those shirts on the Walter Football merch store. Also, please consider super stickers. Those help a lot because we make no money through YouTube ads. YouTube ads are pretty pathetic. As I always say, we need to make 4 episodes just to afford a McDonald's cheeseburger, which is $2.69 these days, because YouTube ads, like, they really pay nothing. The last time we had a super chatless free show, we got 79 cents or 71 cents from YouTube ads. So those definitely go a long way. We've had some really great ones recently. Germ on Thursday gave us, I think it was like $5 or $6 because of our recommendation to turn socks inside out. It's like one of my biggest things. that I do, and like people are like that's so weird. I wear my socks inside out because American socks are made the wrong way. Their seams are on the inside instead of the outside, so it's so much more comfortable if you turn your socks inside out. And Germ gave us, I think it was like a $5.55 super chat or $6 because because of that recommendation, and he started doing it, and he's like, this is so great. That's what I tell everyone, and everyone who starts doing it is like, wow, you changed my life. So I really recommend that. But yeah, we had him, we had Carmen give us a $4 super sticker. We had Slew help us out recently. John Sanders, I mentioned Germ, Degeneron, Kevin Kovac. We had a new viewer give us a $20 super chat last week. So you guys have been so great in your support. So we really appreciate it. Also, you can buy my book. It's on Amazon. It's called Jerks of the College Years. You just type in Jerks of the College Years on Amazon and take a look. We've had some very weird people I ran into in college. They're all like, I thought this cover was extremely well done. I had a lot of submissions from artists, and this is the best one, I thought. But yeah, if you like Jerks of the Week, which is a section on the site where I make fun of people, you'll like this because it's basically the same thing, just from me in my college years, which is, I graduated almost 20 years ago, which seems like an eternity, but yeah, you can buy this on Amazon. It's another way to help the show for sure. Bagley says July makes sense for Gluttony Month because of everyone eating hot dogs for the 4th of July. I was actually thinking of Wrath Month for either May or July because of the Summer of Love riots. I don't know whether it should be May or July because it basically started in May. But I feel like it got at its worst in July. So I don't know. I was thinking of Wrath Month, either May or July, but Gluttony, that does make sense. Envy Month is going to be January. I'll say that. As for Gluttony Month, I didn't have a set month for that, but that does make sense for July. So thanks for the recommendation. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do for Gluttony Month. Like I know what I'm going to do for Wrath Month. I know what I'm going to do for Envy Month. Gluttony Month, I wasn't quite sure yet. So if you guys have any recommendations, please let me know. That's like the one I'm stuck on for now. But yeah, I can't wait to do the Envy flag. It's gonna be a funny one. And the Wrath Month, I think will be it might make people angry, but that's what we do here. So January because of the GameStop squeeze. Well, I mean that makes sense too, but no, it's going to be Envy Month is going to be a woman. I can't say Hillary Clinton to ChatGPT because it'll be like we can't make pictures of known people or like actual people. So what I do is it's like for this Biden thing and Nancy Pelosi, I would ask ChatGPT. I'm like, how would you describe Joe Biden? And it would give me like 5 or 6 bullet points. And I would say, oh, I would like to make a fictional person named Pedo Pete. And he looks like this. And I copy it back to them and just, it makes that person. It's so stupid. So I was going to have Hillary Clinton just like looking angrily at like Donald Trump, who like is standing in the White House, like happily. And like, just Hillary Clinton, like their bloodshot eyes, just being super angry at Donald Trump for winning that election in 2016. I think that is like the perfect envy shirt. But GameStop does fit that too. Just because, a lot of people could have bought into it and they didn't. And it skyrocketed to 480. And, to be fair, I sold well below 480. I think most people did. I sold at like 105, which, I bought it $5. So like that was a great game, but it could have been so much more. But yeah, that works as well. Maybe I'll factor that in too. Maybe I'll put that in the background or something, but I'm kind of surprised they let the Nancy Pelosi shirt go because I actually put the NVIDIA company on there. I thought it would reject it because of that. I originally had the NVIDIA logo on it too. I actually scrubbed that out because I was like, there's no way they're going to let me put the logo on there. But I thought for sure it wouldn't accept that because earlier today I saw the Biden one, but I didn't see the Pelosi one. I thought they were going to give me, they're like, I thought they're going to say like, you can't have NVIDIA on there, but apparently apparently they don't care. I feel like Zazzle just doesn't care. I feel like because I've thought so many times they're going to be like, yeah, you can't do this or something. It's it doesn't conform to our beliefs. Whatever woke nonsense. But I think the Zazzle site is pretty libertarian as far as that's concerned, which is pretty cool. That they allow all this stuff. So I'm happy to have my shirts on there. So yeah, if you guys were to buy those, that would be awesome. I actually bought a few. They actually arrived today. I was gonna wear one next time. So obviously have to wash them, but they are here. I bought two for my dad. I bought the Rogers Bucker Make Football Great Again, and then I bought the Biden Pooped His Pants one. So I bought them for my dad for Father's Day for it's in three minutes. So yeah, hopefully he'll like that one. I think he'll like the Biden Pooped His Pants one for sure. I think I'll have to explain the Rogers Bucker one to him. Like, obviously he knows who Rogers is, but I think he'll be like, who's Bucker? And then I'll have to remind him. They'll be like, oh, okay. But he'll definitely get a kick out of the Biden Pooped His Pants one. All right. So anyway, so we had just like one piece of news recently, the past couple of days, which is that Tee Higgins signed his 1 year, $21.8 million contract. There was some, concern that he wasn't going to report or he's going to hold out because he was franchised and he wanted to go elsewhere. But that kind of nipped that in the bud. Like he's going to be on the team next year, and he's going to be playing for sure. So, it's great. Obviously, great news for the Bengals. There's no long-term risk for this. Like, obviously, you can't roll this over to the next offseason, but with the salary cap increasing every year, it's probably not an issue. So yeah, no real long-term ramifications here at all for the Bengals. It's all upside. Like if they let Higgins go, they would only have Jamar Chase as a proven weapon. And yeah, they have some young guys like Andre Yashevitz, who looked pretty good as an end zone target last year. Jermaine Burton, who was drafted in the third round. Trenton Irwin made a couple of plays, but like Charlie Jones, the fourth round pick from last year, I kind of like him a little bit, but really like the only proven guys they have at receiver right now are Chase and Higgins. And so if they let Higgins go or kind of force him into a holdout, I think that'd make it tricky for them to go far into the playoffs and maybe to the Super Bowl. But now that they have Chase and Higgins for like locked in for sure, if they stay healthy, they have just as good of a chance as anyone to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, they look like the best team in the NFL at one point last year. Like they started slowly because Burrow was hurt, and then they kind of went on a tear. They destroyed Buffalo in the Sunday night game. I know they got tripped up by Houston after that, but like Houston turned out to be a good team, and they were looking ahead to the Baltimore game that Thursday. So I didn't really put much stock into that loss. And then they played Baltimore, and Burrow went down with that injury. So that ended their season. So I really wonder how far they would have went last year if Burrow didn't get hurt, because, he's obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and they have some good pieces around him offensively and on defense. So this team would have definitely made the playoffs, I think. And so you just don't know. Maybe they would have met in the NFC or the AFC Championship. So, it's really good news to keep Higgins around, obviously. So, yeah, I definitely would. I don't even know if I'm going to grade this really, because it's just a standard 1 year contract off a franchise tag, which, you see all the time. It's a set value, really. But it's good news. Like if Higgins didn't sign anything, I'd probably make like a disaster grade for just for him holding out. But the fact that I don't have to do that is definitely good news. It just says, hey, Walt, sorry, I forgot about yesterday, but I want to talk about the Trevor Lawrence contract. Well, yeah, I mean, by all means, let me know what you think about the Trevor Lawrence contract. We talked about that on Thursday. It's a big dollar amount, and there might be some sticker shock to it. I understand anyone who's like, oh, this is a ton of money for Lawrence, who has yet to prove anything besides that comeback he had against the Chargers, a Chargers team that really didn't have Joey Bosa. Bosa played, but he was not 100% in that game. Mike Williams didn't play because Brandon Staley foolishly played his starters the week before, and Williams got hurt. So the Chargers weren't even at full strength, and so the Jaguars were able to take advantage of that. So I get the argument that Lawrence is not is not really proven, but he's so young. He's got so much talent. There's a ton of upside. Like this could be the year the Jaguars make a big run. Like they made some good signings. Darnell Savage, Eric Armstead. Two really good pieces on the defense, especially Armstead. And they have their first round tackle from last year. Expect him to be better. Still have Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram. They lost Calvin Ridley, but he was a nuisance in the locker room. So it might really be addition by subtraction, because Ridley had a few really great games, but he was kind of a ghost outside of that. So and they drafted Brian Thomas. Like he could be legit. Like he has so much talent. I think he's a little raw, and it might take him a little long to develop, but you never know. I mean, he could get going right away. Like I thought DK Metcalf would be like that. Like I love Metcalf's upside, but I was like, I think this guy's I think he's like a year away from producing. I think like his rookie year is going to be kind of bad, and then his second year we might see an explosion. But no, Metcalf was great right away. So I wonder if like Thomas is going to be the same way. Maybe he'll just be great right away, and I could definitely see that. Andrew's saying, if I were Lawrence, I wouldn't want to stay with Jacksonville. They have a terrible owner. I don't think people realize how bad Shad Khan is. He has a worse win percentage than Snyder in Washington. I don't disagree. I don't think Khan's a great owner, especially given that like he has screwed over the fans by accepting this deal and to play in London every year. I get they've really surrendered 2 games, although like one's a road game, granted, but still like they still play 2 games in London, and that the second game does give them an advantage, but still they lose a home game every single year, which I wouldn't like as a fan. So I get it, and there are worse owners out there. Like I think like David Tepper, for example, in Carolina is a much worse owner. Like he blocked the drafting of CJ Stroud because he thought Bryce Young was going to be better. Like he thought that he as an investor who made his money through bank stocks knew more about football than the football guys he hired, and then he fired all the football guys because they didn't agree with him. It's like such an idiot. So like obviously he's worse. Like Shad Khan is not at the bottom of the list, but I do agree that he's not a particularly good owner. So I get this, but at the same time, it is Florida. There's no state tax, so like the contract Lawrence signed is better than if he would have signed it in New York or something, or Massachusetts or California. Like they're not paying us any state tax on this it is a big deal. So there's that. Plus, Doug Peterson's a decent coach. I don't love Doug Peterson, but he's okay. He's won a Super Bowl before. Lawrence has good pieces around him, and the Jaguars are set up to have long playoff runs. Obviously, the division's gotten a lot better within the past 12 months. Heading into last year, everyone thought the Jaguars were going to run the AFC South for a long time. Now suddenly Houston and Indianapolis look like they're going to be forces for a while. And Tennessee, if Will Levis is good, like who knows? I think he's a major wild card, but so like still, I think the Jaguars are set up to do well. But I agree with this. I'm not a big Shad Khan guy. John Sanders says Higgins is probably afraid they'd pull the tag. Yeah, I can see that. And still like 21 million is like nothing to scoff at. Like I'd be happy playing for 21 million. Hell, I'd be happy playing for like 0.1% of that. So, it's a good deal of money, and I think you're right. Like maybe that was a factor here. Andrew says people think he's decent, Khan, because he has won a couple of playoff games. He's trying to move the team to London. In my opinion, he doesn't care about winning. So if I were Lawrence, I would get out of there right now. Well, I don't know. Maybe Lawrence wants to go to London too. Who knows? I do agree that he ideally would love to move the team to London. I don't know how feasible that is because the logistics of it. Do you pay the guys in pounds? How willing are free agents to go there? Like what's the travel like? Because are you going to give them all the home games there? Or are you going to split them with Jacksonville? It's a lot of weird things. I think it's Goodell's wet dream. Like I've told the story before. Not really a story, but I met with someone who used to work for ESPN. Not someone you would know on the air, just like one of the writers on the website. I met him this is 11 years ago, and I was talking to him for a while, and he's like, yeah, I know for a fact that Roger Goodell wants a team in London by 2020. Now, it didn't happen, but still, like, I still think that's a long-term goal of Goodell's. It just got pushed back, maybe a decade or something. Maybe it's by 2030 now, but that is Goodell's plan, is to have a team there. So like the Jaguars seem like the most logical team to go there. And like I said, it's a real shame because the fans already lose a home game there, and eventually they're going to lose the team. So for the fans, it's bad. But maybe the players want to go to London. I don't know. Like I just don't know the feel for that. But like we do know that they play well there. Like they swept the two games they had there. They beat Atlanta, and then they just kind of whacked Buffalo because they had that advantage of staying over there. And like that is a huge advantage for them. If they have that edge the whole regular season, like that's enormous. Then again, like traveling from there, it might be tough too. Let's see. John says, "Hey, they only beat the Bills by 6. Let's not go Detroit." Well, I don't know. I mean, like that felt much larger than 6. The Bills had a comeback, didn't they? At the end, I'm gonna pull up the stats here. I feel like the Jaguars outgained them by a lot, but I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting. It was week 5, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. The Jaguars outgained them by 90 yards. It looked like the Bills were sleepwalking in the game. Like their body clocks weren't set, and the Jaguars were. And they won by 5, so it's 25-20. But you have to remember that like the Bills were a better team than the Jaguars, and the Jaguars won by 5. The Bills were favored by 5.5. So like, does that like give the Jaguars a 10.5 point swing? Just like this Jacksonville beating Buffalo, I think is a bigger deal than most people think, because Buffalo, like I said, a better team. If they're playing on a neutral field in America, I have a feeling they would have won that game, maybe by around 5.5. So the fact that the Jaguars had like I just remember watching the game, like thinking like, wow, the Jaguars have so much more energy than the Buffalo. Like the Bills looked like they were sleepwalking. The Jaguars looked like they're ready to go. So I just think that clock advantage gave them such a big edge. And just imagine if the Jaguars were an equal team to Buffalo. If they were an equal team to Buffalo, they would have killed them just based on the energy advantage they had in that game. But the fact that an inferior team was able to beat a superior team like that and gain 90 more yards, I don't know. I think it's a big advantage. I think. It just says Connor's not trying to win; he's trying to move to London. Well, I don't know. I mean, I do think he wants to win. I think London is his top priority. But I wouldn't say like he's not like trying to lose, I would think he would want to win, but I do agree though. I don't think he's the best owner. Mike says NFL and its owners are drowning in cash, so players like Higgins always eventually get a bundle. Next, gigantic overpayment Tua. Yeah, I mean Tua's going to get a huge deal for sure. We know that, but his injury history makes it pretty tough. So. The Dolphins better get a team-friendly deal of some sort, that they can get out of pretty quickly if he gets hurt a lot. They better not do what Arizona did. Like Arizona just can't get out of the Kyler Murray contract. So we'll see what Miami does. I feel like they will overpay. It just better be a team-friendly deal. Johnson's paying Bitcoin. Yeah, that is the best way. I like if I were a player, I'd want to get paid in Bitcoin because. I mean, you could just buy the Bitcoin, right, with your salary. But yeah, just I mean, my financial advice, and I'm not a financial advisor, but my financial advice is to not be in U.S. dollars, to divest from the U.S. dollar. I think it's a horrible idea to be in the U.S. dollar right now. I saw like people were saying like with the whole GameStop thing, that now that they have $4 billion in cash, they're like, oh, people are like, oh, why don't they buy Bitcoin? I'm like, why don't they just put their money into Bitcoin, like not buy Bitcoin, just like, hey, we have 4 billion in cash. We're actually going to have 4 billion in Bitcoin because cash gets devalued every single day because the Federal Reserve prints $500 million per day. Whereas Bitcoin, there's always going to be 21 million Bitcoin, never more, never less. I'll just keep my money in Bitcoin because you're going to lose money all the time with just having it in US dollars. Like I barely keep any money in the bank. Just a couple thousand here just for bills. I have it like elsewhere, in various stocks for just for selling covered calls. I have some in Bitcoin. I have stuff in just other investments and whatnot. I think it's a horrible idea just to keep cash in the bank. I was talking to my mom about this, and she was saying that like, she's like your niece, whatever. Like she's like, they just have the money in their bank, and the money just sitting there, for college in the future. Like these kids are like 7 or 5 years old. She's like, the money's just sitting there. What should they do with it? I'm like, take it out. Like, don't keep it in there. Like, what are you getting? Like 28 cents per month? Just the bank's giving you like 28 cents per month, and it's losing value every day. Like you need to invest it. You need to, and I was talking about like covered calls and stuff like that. It's like with GameStop, it's like a 70% return on the year. It's crazy. So just like do stuff like that, or put into Bitcoin or something. Like just like keeping money in the bank is the worst thing you could do, because you're just going to get slammed with inflation, and you could just have more upside elsewhere. What's this? No, the Bengals game. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. The Bengals game, not the Jaguars game. I thought that was another one where the Bills came back. Like I think the Bengals were up by a lot, and then the Bills came back. What was it? It was it week 7? I had my Excel sheet open. Maybe it was week 6. Let's see here. No, it was not. Was it week 9? So it was week 9, Bengals 24, Bills 18. The Bengals outgained the Bills 397 to 317. They outgained them in yards per play. My analysis for the game, I have my analysis here. Maybe I can share this with you guys. You guys can see what my my Excel sheets look like. Let's see. I think I have to stop. I think I have to do this. So presents, share screen. Let's see. Excel, here we go. Did this work? Yeah. Now I have to enlarge, I suppose. Let's see. So, you can. I have like write-ups for every game here. Let's go up. I have like date, day, opponent, team, site, line, projected line, value, margin, EPA spread, advanced spread. I have just various notes here. I have just analysis. I just do like 2-3 cents analysis on each game. So let me see here. So for the Bengals Bills, so I have here 24-28. Joe Burrow sliced through the Bills secondary. The Bengals are up by multiple scores for most of the night. The Bills drew to within 6 at the very end, but Joe Burrow answered to ice the victory. So 397, 317 Cincinnati, 5.9 to 5.8 yards per play Cincinnati. So it looks like the Bengals had an advantage the whole game. And the Bills just came back. So, so like I wouldn't say like the Bengals really won by 6. It was they were up by multiple scores for most of the night, and Buffalo just had to come back toward the end, which is what they did against Jacksonville too. Remember, Jacksonville had a bigger lead, and Buffalo they threatened at the end. It just didn't win. So I thought I just remember that being very lopsided. And then but this is back when Buffalo wasn't at its best too. Remember, I think the following week, we can track this. Week 10 was that the Thursday game? No, it was when the Buffalo play on week 10. Let's see. That was, remember the next game Buffalo had was that Denver game on Monday night. So it's not like Buffalo granted, Buffalo wasn't playing at its best back then. That was right before they fired Ken Dorsey and they went to Joe Brady. So yeah, I mean, maybe the win wasn't as impressive because Buffalo wasn't playing at its best. But I remember Joe Burrow just being like on fire in that game. Okay, so Mike says 34 trillion U.S. debt. Every U.S. citizen is 100,000 in debt. Think about that. Yeah, and it's only going to get worse. I think that what is it? We spent more money on interest on our debt this year than we did on military expenditure. I think that's correct, and that is very worrying. I just don't understand. And then they keep printing money, and then they have the audacity, like Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. He has the audacity to, like, during the meetings every month, to come out and say, oh, our inflation's not slowing down. We have to keep interest rates high. And I'm like, why don't you just stop printing money? Just stop printing money and stop sending money overseas. Like that's going to fix it right away. Like, well, not right away, but it's a good start. But yeah, the slew adding 34.825 trillion in debt as we speak. Yeah, it's not a good direction. It just keeps going up. There's like that site is called like National Debt Clock or something. It just keeps rising all the time. They print 500 million per day. They could just stop printing and see what happens. And I guarantee inflation is going to go down if they stop printing money. But they have to appease the rich people who want to enrich themselves in the stock market. So, yeah, it's a horrible system. Woodrow Wilson, the worst president of all time, because he implemented the Federal Reserve. He was watching over not only the Federal Reserve, but federal income tax too. Like, he's the worst president of all time. So this is my spreadsheet here. Let's just have a bunch of stuff on there. Hopefully it's more useful this upcoming season. This past year wasn't our best year, but it's kind of there were a lot of distractions. Like my daughter was born, just wasn't getting much sleep. But it's been good to me over the years. So I'm pretty excited for this upcoming year. Like I said, my top 5 picks so far for week 1 are Steelers over the Falcons, the Panthers plus 5.5 against or plus 5 against the Saints, Tennessee plus 5.5 against Chicago, Arizona plus 7 against Buffalo, and then Cleveland plus 1 against Dallas. Right now, those are my 5 picks. Obviously a lot can change. It's only June. Debt per taxpayer, $266,952. Yeah, not great, Bob. Not great. It's a broken system. It can be unbroken with smarter people or uncorrupt people. If you actually got politicians in there who cared, like I said with that quote, like old men who plant trees in whose shade they'll never sit. If you get people in there who aren't concerned about the political careers, and aren't concerned about short-term gains or aren't concerned about enriching themselves with NVIDIA stock. And if you get people in there who just all right, we're going to do what's best for the country, because if we keep going down this path, we're not going to have a U.S. anymore in 50 years. We're going to do this for our kids and our grandkids and their kids, just to make America the best it could be. That way you would turn it around. That's the best way to turn it around. The problem is that the politicians are so corrupt that they're just going to do whatever they're going to vote however the people in the higher ups are going to tell them what to do, like the deep state. They're just going to vote however they're told to vote, and they get money from it. And then they get to trade stocks freely without getting into trouble for it. I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi should be in prison. If Nancy Pelosi weren't a politician, she'd be in jail right now. For sure. She'd be in prison for a long time. How do you trade NVIDIA stock after knowing the CHIPS Act is going to be signed? That is as corrupt as you get. And then you have Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC. He comes on these networks and is like, oh, there's no insider trading here. It's like, are you kidding me? It's the epitome of insider trading. There's nothing but insider trading. There's no outside trading. Nancy didn't evaluate any charts, and she didn't look at any reports. She just knew the CHIPS Act was going to get signed, and so she bought calls on NVIDIA, made $200 million. And again, she's not the only one. Like Dan Crenshaw, he made a ton of money on it. Like all these politicians, there are only a few who don't. And those are the only ones who like are somewhat worthy of our trust. Like you can't really trust anyone, obviously, but of all the politicians, if you're making a list of trustworthy to least trustworthy, they're at the top. Although, like I said, you can't really trust them. But I think there are a few good ones. I think like Matt Gaetz is pretty good for the most part, from what I've heard. He tried to, he managed to unseat Mike McCarthy, or not Mike McCarthy, McCarthy from Speaker of the House. If you could unseat Mike McCarthy, that'd be pretty impressive too. He was able to do that at least, and he doesn't take like any big donations and stuff like that. So, and I've listened to like 2-hour interviews of his. Like I think like he's pretty legit as far as congressmen are concerned. But like I said, you can't really trust anyone. I've been like, oh, I like this guy, and then like he's kind of like Crenshaw, for example. Like when he first came up, I was like, oh, this guy's legit. He's got an eye patch. Like how cool is that? But he's turned out to be as corrupt as it gets. Like I said, you just don't know. You just never know when the money comes around. And these people can make 8 or 9 figures. Like they'll backstab you like as quickly as possible. So, yeah, Wilson did way more terrible things than that. I just said 2 things. Like, yeah, but it's hard to top federal income tax and the Federal Reserve. Like that, like the Federal Reserve has destroyed the U.S. economy, and federal income tax has bankrupted like American citizens. Like. That is pretty bad. Wait, hold on. Reading your Raiders 2024 preview, did you really project the Raiders to go 2-15 last year? Too lazy to look up. Yes, because remember that was back when Jimmy Garoppolo was people thought he was going to miss the entire season. I remember, I think I projected the Raiders at like 6-11 or 5-12. And then the news broke that Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't going to play because of some sort of back injury or neck injury or something. And I was like, oh man, who's going to be their quarterback all year? Aiden O'Connell. And so I was like, I don't know how the Raiders are going to survive this. So I thought actually it was like Brian Hoyer was the favorite to start. And like that, no team's going to win games with Brian Hoyer as the starter. So I downgraded the Raiders severely. That was an adjustment I made after the summer, like toward the end of the summer. I usually keep my season previews as is. Like if I post something, I won't change it. But if there's major injury news, then I will change it. And I that's the one team I changed it for was the Raiders. And obviously it was incorrect because that defense was amazing. And Garoppolo ended up playing. Not that Garoppolo is great or anything like that, but it wasn't Brian Hoyer who started. So like back then, I think it was like in July, like end July was when I made the change or something. First of all, like we had no idea like Aaron O'Connell was going to perform like pretty well in the preseason. And he looked really good in the preseason. So that was encouraging. So we like, it was either Hoyer or O'Connell at that point. I'm like, Hoyer is horrible. And like O'Connell's a 4th round rookie. Like the Raiders might really be in trouble. But yeah, it was weird. Like Garoppolo didn't even miss any time, but there were such dire projections about his health that I thought he was going to miss the whole year, and he didn't miss any games, at least until he got benched. But I don't know, maybe the injury was why he looked like he was just slacking off or just not giving it his all last year. Like there were some times where he just looked so disinterested. And I wonder if it's because of his injuries. Like he wasn't 100%, and like it was like hurting when he was throwing, like or taking hits even worse. So I don't know. I think I don't know. Yeah, I feel like if that's the case, you can excuse it. But Garoppolo was awful last year. But he did play. It wasn't like Hoyer still would have been worse. But Garoppolo did play, and he was an upgrade over Hoyer. Mike says, I think it was the Nixon administration that stopped backing the dollar with gold. Yeah, they went to fiat under Nixon. So the dollar is basically worth nothing. Yeah, well, I mean, that's definitely a catalyst. I think going to fiat currency was a horrible decision. Yeah, I think you have to back it with something. And obviously it could be gold, but I mean, that was like another nail in the coffin. But like it all started with Woodrow Wilson with the Federal Reserve and the federal income tax. Like he was the genesis of it, and Nixon, the Nixon going to fiat was another one that was pretty brutal. John says even Bernie Sanders thought Wilson was too progressive. Yeah, Bernie, the ultimate sellout, Bernie Sanders. Like, I at least like I thought his ideas were dumb, but I at least like respected him because he had his own ideas. Like it seemed as though he had his own ideas, and he always was like the millionaires and the billionaires. They need to pay the fair share, and like. As soon as he became a millionaire, he stopped saying millionaires and billionaires. He just was like, the billionaires need to pay their fair share. Like he just completely like stopped saying millionaires. And then he got screwed over in 2016. He was really the candidate, and the DNC screwed him over. They put in Hillary, and then he, rather than running as independent, which is what he should have done, and he's an independent anyway. He bent the knee to Hillary, and I was like, this guy's a sellout. So it was a shame. Like I said, you want to trust these people. They say nice things, and then they'll stab you in the back for an 8-figure contract. It's a shame. It's a shame things work that way. Let's see, Bagley says, it boggles my mind how Wilson has consistently appeared near the top of scholarly presidential rankings. Glad to see he's been slipping further and further down recently. Yeah, well, anytime you hear scholarly rankings, it's going to be the worst. Like you could probably reverse it. It kind of reminds me of the Rotten Tomato score, where like the audience score is the real one, but the other score they have there is going to be the inverted. Like if it's 100%, it's going to be like the worst movie or show of all time. If it's like 10%, you have to watch it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like these pious, like ignorant douches, like they think they know everything just because, I went to school for 10 years. I have 4 pieces of paper that say how smart I am. I know better than everyone. It's like, no, you were just too dumb to get out of school for that long. So they're just arrogant douches who don't know anything. So every time you hear scholarly or something like that, just do the opposite. No, Mike says not only that, but who names their kid Woodrow? Well, there's another Woodrow who doesn't like me very much. Woody Page. I don't know if you guys ever heard that story, but Woody Page once wrote an article about me in 2012. It was how do you write it? He's like, the owner of this website is a mushroom who lives in dank darkness. Or was it dark dankness? I think it was dank darkness. He said that about me. Why he said that about me is because I released ahead of the 2012 draft. I released like all my picks, like the history of my mock draft. So I was like, pick one. So I was like, first mock draft, this guy. Second mock draft, this guy. Third mock draft, this guy. And I had like 50 mock drafts. And I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, this is like the history of my mock draft. This is how the mock draft has evolved. Based on like player performances and stuff like that. And I thought it was neat. And so I was like, I had 50 mock drafts. That's awesome. It's what I do for a living. Right. And so Woody Page is like, there's a website out there that had 50 mock drafts. This guy lives in, he's a mushroom who lives in dank darkness. So he didn't, unfortunately he didn't mention my name, but like it was the exact number of mock drafts I did. And he posted that article like a couple days later. So it was obviously about me. And so I email. And it was a kind one. I was like, hey, Woody, I always enjoy you on Pardon the Interruption. Oh, no, on Around the Horn. I was like, I saw your article about you calling me a mushroom that lives in dank darkness. I was like, I was like, I thought that was funny. Just wanted to say thanks for reading the site. I just wish that you would have mentioned me by name or linked to my site. So I sent him that email, but he didn't write back. Obviously, of course, so he wasn't going to write back. But it was a funny exchange, or a funny thing to see my site like just be put on blast like that. So that was kind of neat. I wish he would have written back, but I like when I wrote that email, I'm like, there's no way he's writing back. Just I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? He probably didn't read it. This guy's like 80 years old. He probably doesn't know how to write. How to read email. Let's see. Sue says, since Mike posted his debt comment, national debt has increased one. Has increased one Tee Higgins contract. Yeah, that's what happens when you print 500 million a day. It's just good. Like like I said, I would love to, the Federal Reserve, like, if Trump takes over, I don't know how much he could do. He's our best chance, I guess, of turning things around. But unfortunately, I don't know how much of it is. But if he comes in, and he's been saying some good things. He said he wants to eliminate federal income tax, which is amazing. If he comes in, it's like, hey, I'm putting in someone in charge of the Federal Reserve who's not going to print any money at all. So we'll see what happens. And like, I would love to see that. I'd love to see what happens to the national debt in that instance. I feel like it would start going down for the first time. Bag says Woodrow is actually his middle name. No idea why he chose to go by it. Oh, so what is his real name? Woodrow Wilson. Let's see. Where's that? Or is that Woody Page you're talking about? What is Woody Page? Let's see. Woody Page. Woodrow Wilson Page Jr. What a weird. That's so funny. Woodrow Wilson Page Jr. Wow, that is something. Woodrow Wilson Page. Like, wow, his parents are really fans of the worst president of all time. That is hilarious. What is okay, yeah, Thomas Woodrow Wilson is his real name. Okay, that's interesting. But Woodrow Wilson Page Jr. That's funny. It's funny. There's a senior of that too. Like, how many times you can honor the worst president of all time? Wow. Let's see. Like says, was Woody Hayes a Woodrow? Woody Harrelson. Yeah, I assume they're all Woodrow. Yeah. I guess it was a popular name back then that like you don't hear anymore. You actually don't hear my name too often either. Like Walter. I've only met like a handful of Walters. There was a Walter in my high school. I never really spoke to him. There were like 800 people in my high school in just my class. So it was impossible to know everyone. I knew there was another Walter out there. I just never talked to him. Actually, it's funny. Like he emailed me about my website. He's like, hey, it's the other Walter from my class. I never really spoke, but he's like, yeah, I've been reading your site. So he had a few questions. Yeah, it turned out to be a nice guy. But just wish I knew him in high school because he seemed like a cool dude. He actually reached out to me after high school, which I thought was funny. So that's one Walter I knew. There was another Walter like I knew of when I played like it was like Pee-wee basketball. I don't know what you call it. It was like I was like 8. I was playing basketball. There's another Walter on our team. Outside of that, like I haven't met another Walter. Obviously, like you hear a name like Walt Disney, Walter White, etc., Walter Cronkite, but you don't Walt Whitman, etc. Like you don't hear that name too often. And like I haven't met too many people. Like I don't have a friend named Walt or anything like that. The guy from high school is like the closest I had to a friend, but like he reached out to me. That was a while ago. I haven't heard from him in a long time. So although my 25th year reunion for my high school is coming up next year, so maybe he'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. If anything, for Jerks of the Week material. We didn't have a 20th because of COVID, so I graduated in 2000, so 2020 would have been it. So our 20th was canceled, but our 25th should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said. Let's see. Sue says Woodpecker. LOL. Like, yeah, Woody Woodpecker. Okay, so what else is I going to talk about? Let's see. I was going to stop screen. Presents. Let's go back to Chrome here. I have it up. There it is. Okay. So US Open day 4. Let's look at the odds. So we have I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit. I saw Bryson DeChambeau at plus 125, like around 5 o'clock today, or I should say Saturday. And I thought about betting him at plus 125, and then he went to like minus 110 or minus 115, or I think actually he went to minus 125. He was up 4 strokes at one point. Let's pull up the leaderboard. He was at -8, and then he finished at 7 under. You have 3 Rory McIlroy, Patrick Cantlay, and Mathieu Pavon, who's known as the French cheater by our friend Nuggets, one of the golf guys. I don't know how he cheated, but that's what Nuggets called him. But I'll say this: Nuggets actually bet Pavon to win this. I think he has him at 20 to 1 or 30 to 1 or something. So that is a bet he has. If you want to bet Pavon, I think he's 18 to 1 if I remember correctly. Yes, he's 18 to 1 here on FanDuel. You might be able to find a better number, but usually these overnight odds they're pretty close at different sports books. So there's not you might be able to find like a 19 to 1, but still probably 18 to 1. So if you want to follow along with Nuggets, you could take Pavon at 18 to 1. He's 3 strokes back of DeChambeau. And so, if DeChambeau stumbles, Pavon could be the best out of these -4 guys to win it. Rory's the best odds of the 4 other guys at plus 330. Then you have Patrick Cantlay at 8 to 1. So something I noticed about this tournament is my formula was way off because I prioritize accuracy over power, and it's been the opposite. And so credit to Butters, the other golf guy, who on a Tuesday show he said that he was looking at power more than accuracy, and I was kind of questioning that because I knew like these fairways in 2014 they were very thin. If you were off by a little bit, like you were done for. But I guess they widen the fairways. That's why you currently have 8 guys under par. The last time they played this tournament, or at least the last time they played at Pinehurst in 2014, there was 1 guy under par to finish the tournament. Now there are 8 guys. And I know like the field has gotten better. Like, there are advances in golf and stuff like that, and player performance. And so you would expect the scores to get better. But this much better, it really means that they did a lot to help the accuracy out. And all the top guys here, or not all of them, but like most of them are bombers. Like DeChambeau, bomber. Rory McIlroy is a bomber. Ludwig Oberg is a bomber. Tony Finau is a bomber. You have a few guys, Thomas Dietrich, for example, Stefan Jaeger, bomber. Like a lot of the guys who are like specialize in accuracy and approach play, they have not done well. Scotty Scheffler, especially, he's +6. This is the worst performance of the year, like not even close. Every other tournament he's finished 10th or better, I think. Should probably check that. Yeah, so there's one tournament he finished 17th. Outside of that, he's been 10th or better. He's 47th right now. So clearly, or 42nd right now. So clearly, however these conditions are, they do not favor him. And he's the best golfer in the world, and it hasn't been close this year. So what I did was I went into my Excel sheet and I switched accuracy with power. And then what I got was I still got Scheffler number 1, but just because he's so great in all the categories. But after that, I have Rory number 2, Xander number 3, Ludwig Oberg number 4, Justin Thomas number 5, which he was horrible. But Bryson DeChambeau number 6, and then you have Colin Morikawa number 7. And then Finau, who is in the mix, he's at 11. So yeah, if I switched power and accuracy, we would have had a much better betting card. Unfortunately, it's tough because there's some tournaments that are played every year. This one was played the last time Pinehurst was played is 10 years ago, so didn't know what changes they made to the course and stuff like that. It's tough. This is a tough one to handicap just because I didn't know about the changes. Like if they kept things the same for 2014, I think we would have had a good card. But we do have Hideki alive here. I don't know like how legit this is. Like what are his odds here? He's 5 back of the leader. His odds are 20 to 1. We had him at 50 to 1 entering the tournament, so he has a chance. So hopefully he pulls through. But if you look at his makeup here, he's basically approach around the green specialties. He's not a bomber. Now he's definitely better than average at driving distance, but he's not a guy who would specialize at a course like this. So the fact that he's 2 under kind of says a lot about him. So if I were to bet anything here, Well, first of all, I think DeChambeau is definitely live at -115. If you look at his metrics, you're going to see driving distance. Nolan drives the ball better than DeChambeau. He's number one. So it's not a surprise that he's in first. So like I bet him to I bet him at the PGA Championship, and that is weird. PGA Championship I expected to be tougher, and it turned to a birdie fest. Again, this is a tournament. This is a course that's not played very often, Valhalla. And then this tournament, I expected him to struggle because of his accuracy. Again, look at his accuracy; like it's way below average. But he's been doing well because this has turned into a bomber's paradise. So I'm definitely considering the DeChambeau -115. It feels weird. You're not getting a good number, but like if he starts off well, like this is going to go to -200, -300. And really, if you look at the odds, he's 55% to win. Getting -115 at a 55%, that's a good deal. What is, I think -115 to I can do the math right now. -115 to break even, you need to hit 53.5%. So yeah, this number should be like it's not even, let's see, it's not even 120. This number should be -125. If that 55.1% is correct, he should be -125, maybe -124. So -115 like may seem like a bad number, but it's actually a good number, I think. So I might bet a unit or so on that. Like I might just probably like 1 unit or something. Now, as far as if you look at the other odds, so it says Rory is 19.6% to win. If you look at the odds, he's +330. It's not a good number. I should say yes, it's not a good number. Patrick Cantlay's 8.9%, Mathieu Pavon's 4.5. I find it interesting that Ludwig Oberg, he's two back of the second group, he's 3.9% to win, which is not too far off Pavon. And then 3.1 for Hideki. Ludwig Oberg I think is outside of Scheffler, he might be the most talented golfer on tour. He's only 24. He's getting better all the time. He is a bomber, but he also grades favorably in every other category. He had a rough day. He had the lead for a while. I think he was like 5 under, I think he was 6 under at one point, and then he finished poorly. He let's see here if expand that. Yeah, so he had a triple bogey on 13, and if you just take that out, if you take that hole out, he's 5 under right now, and he's looking pretty good. So out of everyone, I think I would look at Oberg at 18-1. So I might do that. I might put I might do like 2 units on DeChambeau and then 1 unit on Oberg. I don't know. I think that's fair. I think Rory, that number for Rory is pretty bad. +330. He could definitely win it, but it's just a bad number. Cantlay 8-1 looks better, but again, like I don't think his like strengths are like fit this course. Like just look at Cantlay. Driving distance is good. It's not great though. But he's just like a well-rounded golfer. But he's just not been playing well all year. Or at least recently, the past 4 weeks. So him doing well here is kind of a surprise. But yeah, I mean, Patrick Cantlay could win it. Pavon could win it. Pavon's obviously the least talented. I mean, look at this tiny pentagon compared to the other guys. Pavon's almost like the meme where you have Big Bird sitting in a meeting with all the guys in the suits. It's like what are you doing here? You know. So I don't know. I mean, even though like I'm rooting on Nuggets, it seems unlikely that Pavon would win. But 18-1 for Oberg just seems like a good number. So if DeChambeau screws up, it could easily be Oberg just having a great day and catching him. So yeah, I might do that. Like I said, 2 units on DeChambeau, 1 unit on Oberg, but it could easily blow up my face. Like if Rory or Cantlay win, that could definitely happen. Or who knows? Maybe Hideki will win. That's definitely a possibility. Okay, so yeah, that's the golf stuff. I'll post that later if I decide, or after I'm done the show. I think I'm just going to post it. Okay, so NBA Finals, we had Dallas winning Game 4, which was nice for us. Unfortunately, the Tatum over points lost. It was a combination of foul trouble. He got into this. Is just so stupid by Boston's coach, and I've respect for Boston's coach. I think he's really good, but what he did with Tatum was so stupid. So Tatum got his 4th foul a couple minutes into the 3rd quarter, but they were down like 30. And then he took him out. I'm like, what does it matter? Like, what are you saving him for? Because like, if you don't have a comeback now, there's not gonna be a 4th quarter to play him in. So like, just keep him on the court. See if you can get a comeback. If you can't, you're going to be sitting him anyway. So I thought that was so stupid. Yeah, they took out the best player when they needed a comeback. Obviously, they didn't get it. It turned out to be a blowout. He came back in with for 2 minutes, and then he just left again. And it looked he was on track to go over, I think, or be close to going over, or at the very least. Like he had 11 points, rather quickly in this game, in Game 4, and then he didn't score for a while, and then he got into foul trouble. So we lost that, but we did finally win with Dallas. As for Monday's game. So I'm hoping Dallas wins and then Boston wins Game 6, because I had that Boston in 6, 5-1 prop. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Boston will win this game. What I'm fearful of is that Boston's going to win by 3 or 4. I feel that coming on. I don't know why. I had this feeling that Boston's going to win, and the Boston bettors on the spread are going to get screwed over, and the people who bet the Dallas money line are going to get screwed over. Everyone's going to get screwed in this game except for the idiots who bet the -270 money line. That number is outrageous, but the people who bet that are going to win. I don't know. I wish there was a way to leverage this somehow, or at least hedge. I don't know how to hedge Boston in 6. Do you take the money line at -70? It just seems wrong. I don't know if you guys have any ideas. I'm all ears, but I do think Boston will win Game 5, especially if Porzingis plays, because in Game 4 they said he was available if needed. I took that as when we didn't see him at all in the first half. I took that as okay, if they have a comeback and they're down 2 with a minute left, maybe they'll put him in. But it didn't seem like he was going to play anyway. But I assume he's going to be back for Game 5. And if he is, and if he's 100%, I think Boston's going to win. Now, if he doesn't play, then I think it's wide open. I think Dallas could take Game 5. That's what I thought. Heading into the series, I thought if Porzingis didn't play, I thought these two teams were even, and I thought Dallas could take it. But if Porzingis is healthy, then Boston's definitely the better team. So, that's where we stand. We'll see what the injury report has to say. I don't imagine we're going to get much news on this recently, but I think we might. Oh, who knows? Maybe we will. So it says you mentioned Nuggets. Any updates to share from Vegas? I do. So Nuggets texted me, and I'll read it. So I should say Nuggets is not in the main event yet. He's trying to get in to the main event, but he's doing a lot of side events. Let's see here. They were talking a lot about. Let's see. I'll find it eventually. No, this is later. So this is boring as I scan my texts. But like I said, I'll answer everything. Let's see. He grabbed Davis Thompson 35-1. You got 20-1 on Pavon. So the number on Pavon, I think that's where it is now. I think it's 20-1. So yeah, if you want to join Nuggets on that bet, you could do it. And I don't think it's the worst. I just think that that Pavon is not very good. And so, like I said, he's kind of like the big bird in that meeting with the suits. Let's see. It must be in another text. Let's see here. I don't know. I'll have to find it. Maybe I dreamt it that he texted about like how he did in Vegas, because I can't find the text at all. I don't know if, like I'm kind of doubting myself if this is true now. Oh, here we go. Here we go. He says didn't make it in day 2 in the 800, going back today or playing in the Aria event. Okay, that's what I have from Nuggets. So he's going to play in the Aria event, and hopefully he does well there. I don't. That update was on what day was that? It was on Friday, so I didn't hear from him today. So hopefully he's doing well. I hope he makes it into the main event. I think that'd be awesome. So I'm rooting him on. So I'll give you guys updates on Tuesday whenever he gives us updates on that. So yeah, I guess if you guys don't have any other questions, I guess that's about it. So happy Father's Day to everyone who that applies to. I'm going to be at my parents' house tomorrow. They have a pool, so my son is looking forward to swimming there, and he's been talking about it nonstop. So Slew with the 111, the 3 quacky Las Vegas Aces. that was a rough one. I did look at the score when it was in the fourth quarter. I forgot about it, and then I looked, and it was like 83-68. I was like, it's a bad call from Quacky. But he's had more good calls than bad calls, so we can forgive him for one loss. But yeah, that was unfortunate. So yeah, I lost money on that as well. I was hoping to get a win there. But thank you, Slew, so much for the support. Really appreciate it. Yeah, once again, happy Father's Day to everyone. Hope you guys have a great Sunday. Like I said, we'll be swimming in my parents' house, and then my wife says she has a surprise for me in the evening. She says I have to go somewhere at 6:30. I don't know where. She's like, you have to go. It's an event around the corner. I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is. Yeah, we'll see what that is. This is my third Father's Day ever. It's my first Father's Day with 2 kids. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. So happy Father's Day to everyone. We'll be back next week, full slate. I think we're gonna have Ben Wassley on probably on Thursday, unless like Tom. I should say it'll definitely Thursday, because Tom, I think, is better for Saturday anyway. So we're going to have a full slate of guests. We have Jacob on Tuesday, Kenny Wednesday, assuming that they can do the show. Jerm with the 111. Thank you, Jerm. We're adding up here. So 222 in total from Sue and Jerm. Thank you so much, guys. We have unless they can't do it for some reason, but I haven't heard otherwise. Yeah, Jacob Tuesday, Kenny Wednesday, Ben Wassley on Thursday, and then Tom on Saturday. So going to be a lot of fun with those shows. So looking forward to it. Sue says happy Father's Day to you all also. Thank you so much, Sue. Really appreciate it. Guys, have a great Sunday and a great start to your week, and I will talk to you on Tuesday.